talking with somebody, I'm like trying to figure out lay of the land on a number of things. And I'm like, by the way, like, is anything going to happen before next week? And they're like, I don't think much, maybe Wagner. And I'm like, all right, kind of filing that away for today's radio conversation, future conversations.
When you ask me,
half hour later, Jeff's texting.
When you asked me who I thought was probably the most, the one that we should go after the quickest of the three, who would I say?
You say Wagner,
Yeah,
right?
that dude brings a lot to the team, and I think people. It's easy to look at an age and just go away from it, but it's influence, man.
Well, dude, I want to go back, and Landfill's tracking down the audio now. When Dan Quinn spoke at the Combine, anytime the Bobby Wagner situation got discussed, he was incredibly interesting and seemingly like very, very confident when he spoke about Wagner. It was fascinating. We're going to play that for you a little later. To me, this one makes all the sense in the world. He clearly likes it here, and nothing for Jayden Daniels is dependent on anybody else in that locker room. Jayden's a dog because Jayden's a dog, period. But Jayden and Bobby have this really cool, really close relationship.
Mm-hmm.
They're both from the same part of the world. They both grew up in the Inland Empire, Southern California. Yep. I learned a lot about the Inland Empire of Southern California this year. It's basically like, it's not LA or San Diego. It is kind of 2 hours from that. It's over the mountains, through the woods.
The grandmother house we go.
Yeah, exactly. San Bernardino is probably like the big city. Riverside, like all that. It's before you get to Big Bear and Palm Springs, but it's its own entity. Now, they're LA fans, right? Like they're all Laker fans, Dodger fans, but it's its own area. It's probably, maybe it's akin to what Richmond is to Washington. I think folks in Richmond root for the Skins, root for the Caps, whatever. Mm-hmm. But Richmond's its own thing. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Now I got two show shoes. Shout out to Jeff.
Yeah, the other one was just not. It was mostly from yesterday.
Okay.
Well, the read things. That's all.
All good. I like the text version Landfill gives us on the old computadora. Specific to Wagner, he's the leader of that defense. He was voted.
He might be the leader of the football team. Let's be real.
Yo, for sure.
About that.
He's a future Hall of Famer. Yeah. He's like a no question future Hall of Famer. And I think he had over 130 tackles last year. The thing that stands out to me most, because what sometimes happens with the Pro Bowl especially, is that becomes like a name brand contest. If people have heard of you, a lot of times you can get back into the Pro Bowl when you're undeserving.
Yeah.
But because of the nature of the Pro Bowl and the fan vote, you get in.
Yep.
All pro voting ain't like that. To make all pro is a very, very different beast.
Yep.
Second team all pro.
Yeah.
That
makes a difference.
Yeah, dude. Now, the critics will say, oh, man, you got to get younger at the position. He's going to be 35.
Well, you get somebody behind him. But right now, the immediate impact you need him. And somebody else can learn behind him.
Totally. And Jordan McGee was drafted last year. There was real excitement about him. Then he got injured in camp and kind of was just on again, off again, injured all year. On a team that is they were in the NFC title game last year. Like, they're a contender. They're a playoff team. You're not turning your defense over to that dude yet. Like, no. He's got to show you something. And I think the contract for Wagner, by the way, Joel Corey nailed that on our show, whenever that was, last week, 2 weeks ago. He said it's going to land around 10. He took a little less to get a bunch of guarantees on it. And at some point, B, you say this a lot, and I try to listen to you. I don't know that the record would show that, but I do try to listen to you, Brian.
Try.
Bobby Wagner's going to be 35.
Yeah.
In the last 3 seasons, we can go back to 4 if you want. Actually, we can go all the way back to 2018 if you prefer.
Yeah, let's go there.
He doesn't miss time. He hasn't missed a regular season game since 2018.
Hey.
Oh, but what about when they went to 17 games in 2022?
He hadn't missed those either.
Dude, he played in all of them. And I think, but surely his tackle counts have gone down, right? He hasn't had less than 132 tackles since 2015.
Mm.
That's a decade of 130 or more.
I mean, I said it the other day. It's 3 people that has done what he's done. Well, other than what he's done, it's 2. London Fletcher, Ray Lewis, and Bobby Wagner. You get those 3 people the same thing, it says what it says.
Dude, we should see if we can get Fletch on next week to talk about Wags.
Gotcha.
He brings a total package, a familiarity with this coaching staff. Him and Ken Norton, like, there's some real OG-ish when those 2 are walking around and talking to young players. Like, this one is just...
Every time I see Ken, I laugh because he and I had some battles, though. We went at it.
Did you ever fist fight or just hit in...
We kind of gotten some physicality, big time. Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me. But he is so kind of chill now.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean he wasn't. He was a bad dude.
I'm chill now, too. Yeah, you talking about...
There's a lot of words I would use to describe you. I'm not sure chill would be the first.
If you knew me when I was playing, you would say I'm chill. I'm just telling you that.
That I agree with. I just think, not that we haven't seen plenty of signs of this, but this is what well-run organizations do.
100%.
Like, dude, the Eagles, Zach Bond's out of this world good.
Yeah.
They get the deal done before free agency.
Yep.
Now, granted, Bond gets more money, more years. He's a lot younger. He's probably 10 years younger.
Mm-hmm.
But you want to, like, your hallmarks, your linchpins, guys that are really, really important to your organization, show them you're going to take care of them.
Yep.
And that matters to the rest of the room.
The value that Bobby had to this team is the defense, this team, through the whole everything. When you go and get him early, you basically tell the other guys, we still serious about this thing. It wasn't just a show. and listen, I know people think people don't pay attention to all that, but guys do. Guys are, like I said, they're human beings for their athletes, and they go out there and do their thing, and they see little things, and things can sway your mind one way or the other.
Totally.
And that type of move right there says, okay, it's not about how old you are, this, that, and that. Do you produce? And if you produce, we'll take care of you.
Production, man. Draft class doesn't matter after you've played a year. Maybe it does for the self-preservation purposes where a GM will hold on to a first rounder so it doesn't look bad on him or something. But once you start playing, you know what's going to happen.
Yep.
We are going to have just a packed day. DK Metcalf requesting a trade, B. Just following Schefter right now. He's just knocking all these out. The Dolphins have told linebacker Quentin Bell they will not be tendering him. He will become a free agent. Ravens informed cornerback Christian Matthew they will not be tendering him, and he will become a free agent. There's going to be a lot of kind of fast, furious news coming, which is cool. We should be excited about that. I think, Washington is going to make more moves over the next 4 days. When we come back Monday, the legal tampering period will be, I think it's noon on Monday.
It'll be noon on Monday?
It might be 4 o'clock, but I think
it
noon.
already started, but it's not 100% legal, but it already started.
We're currently in the illegal.
A lot of people are talking and doing things, and everybody getting the opportunity to go, hey, go pursue a trade. What the teams are doing now is saying, hey, go do my job for me.
Well, it also removes the notion of tampering.
Yeah.
Like if somebody's, you're allowed to pursue a trade. That's why, like, the whole nonsense with Tom Brady and Matt Stafford at the high-end ski resort. Like, one, from my understanding, they both have homes there because it's a super exclusive millionaire joint.
And let's just be real, Jay. They in the same business, same position. They probably already had each other's numbers. Say, hey, Matthew, I'm going to be at the resort this time, and I like to run into you.
Well, and it's
those things happen too now.
Yo, you want to get a beer at the dope-ass bar at the top of the mountain where everybody else goes?
We need to talk.
I've never been to Montana. I've been to some high-end ski resorts. Like, there are dope places where everybody goes. So if you're at the same resort, you're going to end up in the same spot.
Yeah, and even if you not there, you will if you need to talk to each other. You present it early.
There's a trade that went down yesterday that I'd like to explain, at least my take on it for our audience. And Brian, if you agree or disagree, I'm curious. But people are like, man, the Jaguars traded Christian Kirk for a 7th. He's a bum. Here's what actually happened. Let's explain how this really works.
Mm-hmm.
So Jacksonville was going to cut Kirk because they didn't want to pay the money, right?
Yeah.
So then Christian Kirk would have become a straight-up free agent. And honestly, considering his age and what's actually, not the fantasy land people play in, but what's actually going to be available in free agency, Kirk would have been at or near the top of the pile, which would have meant whoever wanted to sign Kirk would have had to compete with the other teams that wanted to sign Kirk, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Houston calls and says, yo, we'll give you a 7th. And Jacksonville's like, sure, what the hell?
Yeah, let's do that.
Because at least I'm getting something.
Yeah, we're about to let him walk for nothing.
The reason Houston only offers a 7th is because it doesn't really cost them anything.
Don't cost them much at all.
And then they get an exclusive window to negotiate with Kirk.
Because they were about to get a ham sandwich for him.
Right. So I think Jacksonville went from getting nothing to something. Houston is able to lock in his deal. And then they get an exclusive window to negotiate with him. I don't think his cap number is going to be 16 mil.
Yeah, probably not.
I think that's all going to change. They'll work out a deal. Houston probably has already talked to Christian Kirk's people. There's probably a deal in the works.
Yeah. When they called and said we'll offer you a 7th, they had already talked to his people and had a deal on the way to being worked out. I mean, listen, these people, just like if you work in a certain profession, you know a lot of the people and you have access to them. That happens in the NFL. They know exactly who to call.
When you and I nailed the exact details of Zach Bond's contract a few hours before it came out, it wasn't an accident. To quote Kevin Kisner, this ain't a hobby, dog. Like, this is our profession. So that leads me to a big trade permission that was granted yesterday that certainly makes a ton of sense for Washington.
Yeah.
Trey Hendrickson led the NFL in sacks this past season, an absolute stud. Cincinnati Bengals edge rusher. Cincinnati has granted him permission to seek a trade. This dude is,
I think he'll look good in Burgundy and Gold.
Big, strong, tough, 6'4", 270, was a third-round pick by the Saints back in 2017, played his college ball at Florida Atlantic. You know the FAU mascot?
Mm-hmm.
I think I got this one.
No, I don't know the mascot. I know the ways. That was cool.
I believe they're the Owls. Woo. He's been a stud, man, since he got to Cincy.
Let me ask you a question. I know we did. It's a little different, though. Is that a powerful mascot? An owl?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I don't. Checking. Temple's also the Owls.
Yeah, I know.
I can't think of
any
other.
That was big Trey Johnson and Leslie Shepard.
Now, owls are kind of like
spooky.
If I'm out in the field at night, I don't want to see an owl.
Why not?
Come poke your eye out or whatever.
Oh, wow. I think he's going to see you a little bigger than him. He might not bother you.
For the fear you have of snakes, it's weird that you discount owls.
Dude, snakes can bite you and kill you. Owls not finna attack nobody.
Owls eat snakes.
Ooh.
They don't eat poisonous snakes, I promise you that.
How do you know? You're an owl expert?
Are you one?
No.
All right, then. They probably go get the little snake that can't do nothing.
I think I watch enough Discovery Channel.
Do they eat poisonous snakes?
They eat snakes. I don't know. I just know they eat snakes.
Yeah, they eat the little bitty things they can go grab.
Of all the dumb rabbit holes,
we go down some rabbit hole, but I'm just telling you, I have a reason to be scared of snakes. Snakes can fool you. If snake make you think it's a stick and you go to kick it in the
I think snakes are scarier than owls.
You get bit by that stick.
Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah, go ahead.
Last 2 seasons, hasn't missed a game, 17 and a half sacks in each of the last 2 seasons. I'm not a math guy, but I believe that's 35 sacks in the last 2 years. I mean, that is astonishing production. I also, with Myles Garrett, that's an entirely different situation. The team is publicly saying, we're not trading him. And we're going to get into what else might be happening in Cleveland. This is different. Cincinnati is poorly run. They have bad ownership. People get caught up. Adam Peters kind of opened the door to this, where he talked about, what's online with the salary cap isn't necessarily reflective of what we look at. We look at the cash being spent. If you own an NFL team, Brian,
yeah,
what matters to you is how much money is actually going out the door this year.
Totally.
And if they got Higgins and Chase, and they're already paying Burrow, there's simply not cash to go out the door for Hendrickson.
True.
Now, you can argue if it should or not, but they have a tendency over decades to be cheap in Cincinnati. That's why Hendrickson's available. And the biggest difference, if you want to talk about Hendrickson and Garrett's the better player, but Hendrickson's damn good. The biggest difference is Hendrickson's actually available.
Yeah, that's it.
Like, that's a massive difference. And we can get into what it costs, right? I think because of the situation Cincinnati's in, the cost isn't necessarily, the immediate conversation for football fans. Like, give him a one. Might not cost you one.
May not cost one because when they put the tag on T. Higgins, I basically said they're about to have some problems.
Well, that
because
also
Jamar Chase still wants to get paid.
And the tag on Higgins guarantees you got to give him $26 million.
$26 million
on next Wednesday.
Unless he negotiate a new deal, which I don't think is about to happen right now.
Commanders have 3 picks in the top 80 and a dramatic hole at edge rush.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be shocked if they're not at least kicking the tires on this thing, having a conversation. My guy Joe Preston always likes to say, let's have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Peters' phone works.
Yeah.
They got service in Ashburn.
As I said,
data center capital.
Anybody like that pops up, you need to kick tires.
I believe they are. I believe they will. I believe it's an honest prospect. Also, I just got this tweet from C. Jackson. Per Google, owls will eat venomous snakes, including rattlesnakes and cottonmouths. Owls are opportunistic hunters that will eat almost anything they catch, including snakes.
But they ain't eating Brian Mitchell. So, and the rattlesnake will kill Brian Mitchell. So, kiss my butt with that one.